welcome to a new Harry's Garage video. And yeah, we're not in a garage, we are in France. I'm in my McLaren 650S and I'm on another road trip. And this one, we're just on holiday time, and I said to Mrs. M, no, we won't video this, we're just meeting the family in Antibes. But I cannot resist to tell you some of the things that we've been up to already on this road trip. If you're wondering where we're staying, this is a Chateau Saint-Jean. It's on Montluçon, it's a town nearby, and apparently Montluçon was famous because there was a Dunlop factory here and they made lots of things here. But what we're doing, we're taking the long scenic route to Antibes. And I ought to say at the beginning, this video is more about the actual roads and hunting out these great roads in France than the McLaren 650S, because hopefully you've watched my year's roundup on this car, so you know all about it. So we're not doing so much on the McLaren. You're going to get a few mentions, it's impossible not to, but it's more about the road trips. And also, when we end up in Antibes, lots of you asked about the boat we've had down there for a while, and I might just do a bit on the boat and engines and how all that works. I've got bored of just going to Eurotunnel, blasting down the autoroute and ending up at destination. And I've been doing road trips for decades, all my life. I used to do it with my parents. And I think in this video, I just wanted to show the other roads that are in France, beyond the epic roads that you all aim for. We all know the amazing roads there are in the Alps, Swiss Alps. You know, we did that in the 930S a couple of months ago, and D2 in France, Col de Torini. There's wonderful, amazing roads once you get down to the Alps. But what about the trip to get to those epic roads? They're the ones that really interest me, and that is actually what this road trip has been about. So instead of doing Eurotunnel, I've started to use Brittany Ferries, an overnight ferry from Portsmouth that then gets you into France first thing in the morning. So we did Portsmouth to Caen on this trip, and I think it left Portsmouth about 11 p.m. at night, so easy run down to Portsmouth. Great cabin. They get you up a bit early because unfortunately it's 5:45, you're leaving the boat UK time, but it's a comfortable cabin. But you're in France. We left the passport control 7:15 in the morning with the whole of France to go for. And yeah, I'm going to show you on a map what we do, and just details of how to plan a road trip. Basically, we have three important bits. We still use a paper map, and I have this laid out at home, and we look at it and look what we can do. I have a detailed Michelin map. I also mentioned Michelin as well, because they're the ones that highlight the interesting roads, the great views. That one does the detail. That is a pain in the neck to actually navigate from, because the place you're always going is always on the fold or on the next map. So it's a combination of the two. And then Google Maps, and you can check distances on that, and in the navigation you give yourself some waypoints and things like that. So that is the basic gist of how to do a road trip. And if you go to Caen, instead of go to Calais, you see Calais, you're just bound to go on the autoroute, and you end up Reims, heading south, Saint-Quentin. It's not quite on this map, but it's a dash down. If you go to Caen, our first stop, there is an area not very far out of Caen known as Swiss Normandy. It's round this, I can't quite see it, but there's a rocky sort of escarpment here, and we went to Pontoroli here, just on this yellow road here, for breakfast. 40 minutes away from the ferry, the best boulangerie you'll find in France, very good value, and it's just wonderful breakfast. So you have a breakfast and coffee there. From there, we did some roads where the Tour de France had just gone through, and all the way through these deserted, amazing roads, there's all the bikes, banners, and the jerseys, and shouting for the French champion cyclist. And it just gives a flavour of France, rural France. And we just headed down to Loire Valley. So yesterday's trip, we did minor roads, no autoroutes. And where we were heading, we came Serge down here, Saint-Georges-Loire here, and then we followed these minor roads either side of the Loire here to Saumur. We made a slight mistake There's it's the D751 is your road you want to follow. You just come through this Chateau region, Loire region, and the Loire, when we reached the Loire River, I said, oh quick, we must video the crossing the Loire, and there was a sign there, Loire Bridge, and you think, right, got it. And then hang on a minute, there's a bridge up ahead. We crossed the Loire 3 times on the same bit of road, straight bit of road. It's a very big river at this stage. And then we just went through these rural roads beside the river, lovely deserted French roads, just what you dream of, through the Loire Valley. And we're on the north side of the river. It was a bit plain straight. We should have stayed on the 751 south of the river. It's a lesson for next time. And then just found a lovely lunch stop just the side of the road, side of the Loire. You could go down to the edge of the river, sandy, just a lunch stop, not posh, loads of parking, had lunch there. Then headed a bit further down to the Loire Valley, and we then used autoroute to get to this hotel last night, because what I learnt all the time I've been doing this is it always takes longer to get to destination than you think if you're using the rural roads. Even though they're just wide and empty, you do end up in towns, in 30-kilometre limits over the speed bumps, bit of roadworks and things. You don't realise how quickly you can cover France on an autoroute. So it's a mix. We use a mixture of the two. On a road trip like this, just do the epic bit of roads and then do the dash to get to the hotel in good time, and you can enjoy the facilities, especially when you're staying somewhere as lovely as this. So yeah, that was yesterday. Today we're going to end up in a lovely hotel in Provence, but on the way there we are now going to dash down a bit of autoroute, because I want to go and revisit a road that I've done a couple of times. First time I ever did it was in the Mercedes SL600 that we kept in Saint-Jean in Cap Ferrat, and then the second time I've done it in the Project 7, and that is the Gorges de Tarn, which is down here. And you can see McLaren Viaduct is there, and it's this crazy bit of road here, and it's tunnels all carved into the hillside. It's a crazy road. I just hope there's not too many sort of camper vans and things there, but we're going to basically auto-route our way down there, enjoy that amazing road, and then we head over to Provence tonight, and then we'll do some even more amazing roads tomorrow. Yeah, so there we go, that's the plan. You're going to join us. I wasn't going to do this video. I said no, we can't keep doing videos of how to get to Antibes, but I think the roads warrant it. I've enjoyed this trip so much yesterday, just finding those empty roads of France. So yeah, more of it today. So anyway, we're all packed up, roof is down, let's head out and go find the Gorges de Tarn. Right, well, we're heading south on the autoroute. It's a little busy. It's quite an interesting autoroute this is. If you just look at it on screen, A75, this one heads south towards Millau. If you're going to Spain or you're in Paris, this is the autoroute you'd use. That's the sort of geography of it, and it's a really interesting autoroute. The beautiful view. We go through a previously volcanic area, so really quite lumpy. I'd call it like to be off the autoroute, just see what it's like, but it's a very scenic autoroute of all the autoroutes, and it has the Millau Viaduct if you carry on down. But we've done, how many miles? We're 600 miles in since leaving home, did about 500 yesterday, and we'll probably do about 350, 400 miles today. And the temperature is 26 degrees. One other thing, if you are road tripping in France, do try and avoid filling up with fuel at the autoroute. It's getting increasingly a rip-off on the autoroute. It was just over €2 a litre last time I filled up yesterday, and that compares to about 166 if you go to something like Super U. We have done the autoroute section. We've just turned off. It's quite confusing if you come down, but we are now in the epicenter of these gorges, and we're coming up a little split road here, and then we have a choice of gorges. Basically we want to get to Floria is where we want to go, and we want to do Gorges de Tarn, which is this one over the top. Tonight's hotel is above actually Provence down here, so we're going to cut our way across. So this is the bit we're doing today, and we just pray it's not too full of RVs that can happen in July. We've been here in May and basically had the place to ourselves. Trying to do it in July is not the greatest time to do it, but it's so scenic. Roof is down and I just want to do it and see it again. So it's been a few years since we've been here. Okay, that's the road we're on. Col de Saint-Rome de Donna. It's very good so far. We're on, it's the 995, D995. Have a look at some of the hairpins that are just about to hit us. We've got one here, that's not the main course, so this is just a little taster. It's a great bit of road. That lot up there. Well, morning. We are now in Provence, as you could probably tell by the look of it around here, and it is 10:30 and it's already 29 degrees out here. God, it's hot yesterday. Amazing run down here yesterday. I ought to just say where we're staying here. We stayed at Auberge Lacoste, which is down here, and we turned in. It's obviously this vineyard and this estate, and it celebrates all things art, food, architecture, and there is scattered art around. There's like a sculpture here, and I can't say all of it is to my taste, but anyway, it's quite memorable when you see it. And if you hear any noise in the background, there is a tractor I've just seen. He's just trimming the vines and cultivating in between the vines. It's that time of year, just the final preparation going on. It's also a bit breezy, and I hope the mic won't pick up on it. Yeah, just a little bit about Auberge Lacoste down there. Nice rooms, and there's a multitude of restaurants you can go to. So it's quite good. You have one place to stay, and then you have 3 restaurants, Italian restaurant. We did the more local restaurant at the bar, and all was good. But and there's also art scattered through the estate like this one. I can't say all the art is to my taste, and it's quite an extreme sculpture there. But let's talk about yesterday and the run down to Provence. Oh my goodness, it was pretty special. You come down that autoroute and you're heading for Millau, and Millau is there. Just see it written there. We go there quite a lot. Just as something on the way down, there is signpost to the Eiffel Viaduct, and Mr. Eiffel not only designed the Eiffel Tower in Paris, he did this viaduct. And we stopped there just to have a quick look at it. Yeah, unfortunately, when I got back to the car, someone had parked really close on that side, and I couldn't get into the car. So we had a bit of a pantomime. I got the roof down and then managed to get in. It's one of the downsides of having the sort of doors we have on here. But what followed next? Oh my goodness, it was very special. Yeah, we came off, and it's actually a bit confusing, but you come off at junction 44.1. I seem to remember it was D995, because I was thinking it's a Porsche symbol, and then it joins the 907 Gorges de Tarn. But that first road down the hillside into the gorge, I would have come on this trip just to do that road. It is epic. It's like a video game. no traffic on it when we were on it, super sharp hairpins, long straight. It was amazing dropping down to that gorge. And then the gorge was surprisingly empty. Last time we were here, it was full of camper vans and things. They were notable by their absence. And we had a wonderful run through, all through the gorge yesterday. And then we actually stopped in Florac, just here. So it's when you hit the main D106. Florac was a surprise, a very nice surprise. You just notice there's a tourist office, big tourist office just on a roundabout, and there's car parks there. You can park up there, visit the tourist office, and then go across the bridge into the old town. And it was really very nice. It was only a short stop for us, half an hour, but it'd be somewhere I would recommend stopping, because quite often the other places, they're pretty crowded. There's always nowhere to park in the old sort of villages and towns you want to stop in, but they're really easy, and you just walk into this lovely, what you want of sort of Provence sort of village to be like. It was very, very nice under the maple trees and stuff. Then it's a really good run down to where we are. So we are at Florac there, and then we're just going to Nimes. We're stopped just above Aix-de-Provence. We're just up here at the moment. But this road, the 106, if you're lucky on it down to Aix, can be terrific. There was the occasional timber lorry when we were on it, but no problem overtaking those. And then we had the roads to ourselves, twisting. Terrific. So the only thing was, it was so hot yesterday. I think once we got to Aix, the roof went back up. It was 36 degrees, 37 degrees, roof on, and then yeah, we had a good run down to this hotel here. What are we doing today? Well, we're going to end up in Antibes tonight, and that's not very far away. It's probably only 2.5 hours away if you took the autoroute, but that's most definitely not what we're going to do. We're going to, well, just that first little bit we do autoroute, but where we're aimed for is Valensole there. That's where all the lavender fields are in Provence. It's probably over by now, and this season is ahead of last year, but we'll go there, and then I want to use the D952 down into Castellane. Castellane obviously is Route Napoleon. This is Route Napoleon, this red road here, but we're not doing that, the D485. We're going to go down to Castellane, probably have lunch there, and then just out of Castellane, this little crossroad, hardly marked on this map, is the D2, the wonderful D2. And that is a glorious road again, with tunnels carved into the rock, hugs the roadsides, relatively quiet. And from there, we'll then drop down into Antibes. So some wonderful roads there, some of my favourite. And we're going to get a bit of a move on, as I say, because the temperature is going to be well in the 30s today. Just things on the car and back in and things. I'm always surprised that it's very nice having a convertible and one that you can just press a button and the roof goes up, because you're making quite a lot of use of air conditioning in this sort of weather. But it just gives you that option. And when it's open, you then have the sound of the cicadas, just this chorus everywhere you go in Provence. It's just fantastic, and it just adds to the experience, and the smells come in. It's just great. And I'm also packing, I put 3 bags. Basically, we have one big bag that has all the stuff we're going to use all week, and then 2 little bags that we take to the hotel, and that's how we decant and make the use. And it's pretty tight in the luggage compartment and that, but that is a very big bag we put in, and then shoes and things we slot around, and that's how we get away with going on trips in a car like the McLaren. Anyway, time to head out. Let's head into true Provence. Yeah, we stopped in a pretty town, Rives, had a stop for a drink, a few things. Very French. There was a Citroën Mahari there that just disappeared off, and I thought, God, we really are in Provence once you see one of those. And then headed up to the Creek Gorge and took the alternative route. Last year we did the narrow one, uber scenic, but I wouldn't want to do it again. It was so narrow. This time we did the easier pass across on the way to Castellane, but unfortunately got stuck behind a whole load of cars, which goes with the territory in July really. But managed to get past. There was a little village at the top of the pass. It's only about 1,000 meters high, and it's single traffic only, so you have these traffic lights that take an age to change, and then it's long straights after that, and you quickly get past the person I was following, and now we've got the road to ourselves, and we're how far away? 11 miles to Castellane. But I think it's well worth doing this area. Castellane is a lovely place to stop. That's the Route Napoleon, and then we're going to dive off and do the D2, and we'll stop in Castellane and have lunch probably. But yeah, if you swizzle round, you can see what sort of road we're on. Famous bit of road here. Lots of people stop here and put stickers on the signs. You can see Les Causes de Griales. This is the D2, and this is the road that takes you from the Route Napoleon, and it's a sort of back way down into Antibes for us, or Nice, or whatever. And it's an epic bit of road, and I love coming this way when we get the chance. You can't really go wrong in this region, but this is a particularly good one, and it's normally quite quiet. It seems to me, though, it's only known by enthusiasts, which is good news. And there's an incredible bit just down here, which I'll go into detail in a moment. But let's have a look at a map, and then we can work it out what we've just done here. So we did this road down into Castellane, D952. We actually just stopped off by the river here just to do a paddle, because it was so hot. We were 33, 35 degrees, and we had a little paddle. And then I spotted a snake in the water, a little baby one, but I haven't seen one of those for years. Then into Castellane. Lovely place to stop, easy car parking. We went round the back and had lunch sort of by a little fountain in the sort of medieval part of town. Really nice. And it's that famous chapel on top of a rock. That's Castellane, that's what it's famous for. But it's it's a bit hot at this time of year to wander up. It's about a 40-minute walk if you want to go to it. And then we left Castellane, and you do a section of the Route Napoleon. And you come up the Route Napoleon here, and if you're going to just do a section of the Route Napoleon, it's not a bad section, this bit between Castellane and where we turned off. It's the D2111. You turn off down that, so roundabout there, and you head up there, and you're looking for the D2, and you get to another little turn into the right, and then you're on the D2, and then it just sweeps through sort of a valley, sort of open sort of bit of road, bit of haymaking going up, sort of cliffs, sort of fairly barren, no arable farming there, and you continue and just follow the D2, and that's what we've just done. And I think it's just a lovely way to drop into Antibes. We've just gone over 1,000 miles, I notice, in the McLaren since we left home. But it's worth it, and we quite often do this route down, and it's about this time of day, so 4:30, 5 o'clock, and it quietens down. The cyclists have gone home because it's too flipping hot, and yeah, it's a little bit of workmen and things in white vans, but generally pretty quiet. And what I'm going to do now, we're going to drop down into Antibes. Well, I'm just going to put some cameras on this because I want to record going through the chiselled out tunnels and arches we get down here on this bit of road and just enjoy it. And then we'll drop down into Antibes, and then the family are waiting down there, and we're going to spend some time on board the boat down there. And I think the next time you join, I've always promised a quick look at the boat in one of my videos, car videos, so I might well do that, just have a look around, show you the engine room, that sort of thing, how it all works. And then, yeah, we'll have a few days on board, and then we're heading home and see which route we take then. Welcome on board. It's Princess 61, 2001. I've owned it since 2016, and we're in Antibes Marina here, Old Town's up there. And we've had a boat here, my goodness, yeah, since 2016 this boat's been here. And we've had a boat down here since 2002 or something. So yeah, it's my happy place being on boat. And lots of you always ask, oh, you know, I've had a boat down here, should I do a separate video? I don't really want to do a separate channel and do boats. I'm busy enough as it is, but I thought you might just appreciate just a quick tour and just how this boat works. Yeah, it's a Princess 61 is a flybridge boat. That's why we've got this sort of upstairs space here. If I actually come round here, and you can open the hatch down here, and then there's a saloon downstairs, or you get down from the other side from down below. But it's 3 cabins, 3 rooms, so you can invite friends on. This is a barbecue hiding under there, sink, fridge in there, city out area. It's just lots of volume. That's why I like this boat. This is the flybridge helm, so there's another one down below as well, and basic controls on a boat like this where you stare at engine revs. It's all to do, you have twin engines on a boat this size, 2 800 horsepower MAN engines, V8s, and then it repeats normal dials you expect, volts, oil, so temperature and oil pressure. Then depth of water, we're in harbour, so 3.3. This is the cruise control of a boat, and it just, you log on, it does auto steer, so it'll keep it at 93 degrees at the moment, and then I will nudge this either way. If I want to move, I go to 90 or 110 on there. It's not live at the moment, so I can't really do it. This is a bow thruster on the front, which is a separate propeller at the front and moves the nose backwards and forwards. Yeah, steering a boat. You'd think you'd do it on the wheel. Well, you sort of do when you're just doing slight movements, but your main control for manoeuvring in harbour and things is actually on the engine controls. So this is port engine and starboard engine, and you just nudge it one forward on there if you're leaving, and you'll probably do 3 or 4 nuts, and then another nudge on that one on the starboard engine to keep it going straight. If you put them both in, you go a bit too quick in the harbour, even at tick over speed, so you're generally on one engine. But you use this for manoeuvring. If you think about a boat, here's a boat, and you have one engine there and one engine there. You put this engine in, this boat will turn that way. Put this engine in, you put that way. And if you really want to make it spin, then I would put one engine that way and one engine into reverse, and then I will turn tighter. So a lot of the steering is actually done by the engines and not the steering wheel. Now, this is a plotter, so this is your sat nav. But so you don't put a destination in, you come out of port, you can see all the pink lines. This is what this boat's done this year, and you will, well, if we go up there, I think there's, this is S.France, Cap Ferrat, Monaco up that way, and a very popular destination. We have these islands off, Cannes there, Gulf on there, these islands here, lots of anchors in there. Or you go diving down the coast and you might go to Saint-Tropez, which we did a couple of days ago. But yeah, once you're out of the port, so you'll come around the corner there, and then you'll set a navigation to get you to Saint-Tropez. That line there, that'll be on there. I can't think what it is, but whatever it is, and you just press that auto, and then it's set on that course, and that's how you steer a boat, really. Just a quick mention that this boat I do via a company called Yacht Share, Parton Yachting, and they do this yacht share thing where we just share ownership, and there's actually 6 of us own this boat. And I mention it now because I think there's a couple of shares for sale, and I mentioned it a year ago, and it was quite fun because guys who joined last year, car nuts, and it's just great having a group of friends that we all communicate via WhatsApp and swap weeks and things, and have boats on board. And they come in all shapes and sizes of boats. You look at those modern boats, they're much bigger. And they're extraordinary craft now, with sort of owner cabins stretching the width of the boat, all sorts of things, but they require stabilizers, and it gets a very expensive sort of boat when you're at that level. This is a sort of entry point boat for having this amount of space, but just having a boat down here, it's a magic part of the world, and I really enjoy it. But it also means I'm always driving down here, and thinking of new routes. So that's basically what, you know, this video, I'm trying to show you some of the roads we've done. And we just go over what we actually did. On the way down, I mentioned last time we saw was on the D2. I was doing the D2 coming along here, and we went through those rocks, those crazy air which is about here. And then it actually turns into the D3, and you dive down here. Ignore my dear wife's crappy on there. We did this road coming in once. It was actually quite a good road in. I hate it all around here. It's just a knot of rubbish roads, and it's busy, and it's such a disappointment if you come off Route Napoleon and you end up in this mare of an area here. So I prefer to drop down here, Vence, and then come into Antibes, which is here. On the way back tomorrow, we're leaving in the morning, I'm going to go up Col de Vence, go up this way, join the D2, Castellane, and then carry on Route Napoleon. And again, I'm going to actually swap to another map. It might be easier to show you on this map. It's always a struggle to then get back on to sort of, if you're going up to Lyon and going up Eurotunnel or whatever, this bit after Route Napoleon just takes longer than it should. So tomorrow we're going to cut across, and I'm going to go use this road here, and I want to go through Die here and join on to the autoroute here, because we're staying same hotel, it's just up here, it's on the other side of the map, but we're going across country like this, have one night at the Chateau Saint-Jean again, and then we're going up to Caen on Tuesday and taking a boat across to Portsmouth. There is a way, if you set off from here, you can be at Eurotunnel in about 12-13 hours. It can be done. I'm trying to take 10 hours to get to Chateau Saint-Jean tomorrow, and then it's another 6 hours up to Caen, having a leisurely Brittany ferry into Portsmouth, dinner on board, and then home that way. It's a choice just to put a stop in it, but there's some ace roads, and you'll be joining us tomorrow some point on that journey back to the UK. Well, yesterday we were all on the boat. Today is the travel day, the first day heading back to the UK. And the sort of region we're in now is, I'm not exactly sure what it's called. It's south of Lyon. If I headed further south in that direction, I might get to Mount Ventoux. This road, D93, which I'll tell you more about in a moment, goes that way and joins on to Route Napoleon, that sort of area. And yeah, we've done quite a few miles today, and yeah, it was a good start. We got off the boat slightly later, we were all saying goodbyes and things. Lovely weather. We headed into Nice, got some fuel, and it all started to sort of unravel. There was quite a lot of traffic in Nice, and I'm sure you've all been there, and everything just took a little longer. And we were heading for Col de Vence was the first stop, because I wanted to do a bit more of the D2, my favourite bit of road in this region. So Antibes into Nice, and what we are trying to do, Vence there, and Col de Vence, and it's fiddly and painful to get to. It always takes longer than you want it to. And actually, when you're going up Col de Vence, there are a lot of cyclists all the way up. Fortunately, all they want to do generally is get to the top of Col de Vence and then come back down again into Nice. So once you get the other side, and on this section, it's much emptier. And these are where those crazy sort of bends, hairpins, and then through the rocks, that sort of area is just there, just above here. And I just love it. Every time I do it, I think it's magic. It's like a film set. And we trundle along the D2 all the way through the valley, and then drop down into Castellane. and just put our nose in actually just after Castellane. I've always been told there's a Citroen museum there, and you say you must call in, must call in. So we did call in. Unfortunately, it's €8 each to get in, and I didn't have any cash. They don't accept cards, but I had a quick scan around, and we'll come back to it. And Route Napoleon, done it lots of times, is fabulous, lives up to its reputation. All this section either side of Castellane, where it slightly falls down is this end at Grasse, and it's just painful extraction to get to where you want to be, wherever you're staying in this area. It's just slow and snarly, and it does the same if I go this way. So you see Castellane, and we're sort of heading up here because Grenoble's here, and then Lyon is about here, and it's just after, well, I call it Digny-les-Bains, probably French they call it something completely different, but once you're here it's just commuter and lots of cameras and very tedious. But there is a special road here, and I need the other map for that. If you can find this road, the D93, put die in your sat nav, and I think it's fantastic, this road. It's quiet as anything, and you should have a ball if you get the right time of day. I mean, we're in July, which should be busy, but it wasn't, and it's just great along here, and that gets you onto the autoroute south of Lyon. We're actually going to have to head over our hotel about here, so Clermont-Ferrand we're going to go through, and then I'm just going to do fastest route to the hotel, and that'll probably be on autoroute. But yeah, the secret, you want to do the Route Napoleon, is to go south of Lyon, carry on down, and then take D93 and bring yourself in. It's still not, you've still got this knot in the middle here, but it's a much better way in to Route Napoleon, in my view, off the autoroute. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Epic scenery around this area. We've got about 4.5, 5 hours to the hotel, and it's 4 o'clock. So I think I'm going to break off now, not do any more filming. Tomorrow is quite tight to get to Caen as well, and then we pick a Brittany ferry up, 4:30 ferry, lands us in the UK at 9:30. So I think I'll wait and summarise the rest of the trip once we're back in the UK, because we've got quite a busy sort of 24 hours between now and getting back to the UK. But there we are, going to make the most of the weather, set off, and yeah, you'll join me probably in, yeah, one of its sunniest this in the UK. Well, we'll find out tomorrow. We're back in the garage after the trip, and yeah, we're having to do it in here because typically it's raining outside, not like it was in France. But yeah, what a trip that was. Really enjoyed some of those roads. And yeah, we came back on the ferry. It was a 4:30 ferry we were catching, got in at 9:30. Really nice crossing, sun was going down, you can eat on board, there's lots of outdoor space, bars, whatever, so really good. But the thing about Brittany ferries is actually they get you off the ferry, they're very efficient, and then you hit the passport control in Portsmouth, and it's the second time I've experienced it, and oh God, it's frustrating because it's all great until that point, but you all converge on not very many passport controls. And if you're unfortunate to be in a queue that has a motor caravan or an RV in, then the passport controller gets out of his kiosk and has to inspect the truck, and it can take forever. And we were waiting there. It took 45 minutes to get through passport control. Last time I was there, it was about 35 minutes, 36 minutes. So it's some time. And then you consider that Eurotunnel, you just, as soon as the train opens, it only takes 35 minutes to get across, and as soon as the doors are open, you're basically on the motorway system straight away in France. So it is a frustration. And getting in at 9:30 and that delay then meant that the motorway, they'd close the M3 because they'd do overnight repairs, and you're faffing around. So we didn't get home till like 1 o'clock in the morning, which was disappointing after such a good trip. I've made some notes of some of my road trip tips and things to look out for. And one I've done, number one, is don't overdo the miles you do per day. It's very tempting. You say, oh, we can do that. Especially you're used to traveling across France on their brilliant autoroutes. I know they're expensive, but you do get where you want to get very quickly. It does not work like that if you don't use the autoroutes, and just don't overdo the miles you do in a day. And actually, when you're catching a ferry, if you're used to Eurotunnel, well, they're every half an hour. You've got to remember, if you're doing a ferry and a ferry like that, the next ferry is not for 5 hours or something. So you do have to get there on time, and therefore you have to build in a cushion to make sure you can check in, etc. before you do. So yeah, that is a very important thing, I think, when you're doing road trips. And then two, I said choose the right car. Now, Mrs. M criticised me that because there is a choice, but just make sure your car is right for the trip you want to do. I love doing it in convertibles. And a convertible with a boot is really good. But like when we went to Norway, an Arctic Circle, there's no way I'm taking this. And I would take the Rolls again or something like that. Or if you're doing it slightly off season, the Porsche 911s, they are very good at doing road trips because they have the space and the adaptability, and they're a good choice as well. The other thing also on cars, you don't need to spend like an MX-5 is a great road trip car as well. It's all part of the adventure. It's just getting and seeing these amazing roads. For France. France is annoyingly good for road trips. There is all sorts of elements right across the country to explore. Little pockets of brilliant roads and culture and scenery all over. Don't think you have to go to Italy or far further afield to find the sort of empty roads that we've been on for the last few days in this car. France is a particularly good, and it's on our doorstep, which does help. Italy is really good as well, but the roads are less well maintained, and it's much busier. There's just more cars on the road generally, I find, in Italy. France, it's easier to find empty roads. There are empty roads in Italy, but you have to search them out more. It's easier to find in France. Spain is really good, but it hasn't quite got the scenery and the variation. It's a big place, big and empty, very empty roads in places. Pyrenees, bloody brilliant. All on that top coast of Spain, really good area as well for road trips. I like Austria. Anyway, yeah, we'll go into possible locations in another video. Groups, how many do you go on it? Just 2 of you is really good, because then you can swap stories and you've always got a backup or something. We tend to do it on our own because we're going out to the boat, and if we're filming a thing, it gets a bit annoying for the others if we're having to do that. But if you're thinking of taking a classic, and if I was taking the Lano on a trip, well, I sort of know mechanical things and I would be fairly confident taking it out. But I think the organised trips and rallies that you can sign up for, they're 99.9% are absolutely brilliant. And that is the way, in my view, if you've got a classic and you've just booked holiday, do it with an organised rally, because they'll have the backup if anything goes wrong. They have mechanics, they can help with luggage if you haven't got much space in it. And if it really does break, they have a backup plan, and that just takes a lot of worry out of it. So I highly recommend going on a rally if you can. The other thing about road trips, it's not normally the cheapest option. It is much easier to get on a Ryanair flight and go to wherever you're going, or EasyJet or whatever. But it doesn't have the sense of adventure of doing what we've just done. I really enjoy it because you're not sure what's going to happen next, what you're going to see. It's just more unpredictability about it, which I actually rather enjoy rather than sitting in an airport. But that is a cheaper option. And also on Brittany ferries, to give them their due, it's generally a cheaper option than using Eurotunnel. Eurotunnel rates have gone right up. FlexiClutch, I think it's £330 each way now, and our overnight cabin and a fancy cabin, TV and everything, was about the same price. It just, you think, well, it's better value in a strange sort of way. But I'm not the only one who does road trips. Lots of you guys do road trips. I would hugely appreciate if you could put in the comments below your tips for doing road trips and which areas we ought to explore next, and anything you have as guidance if you're doing road trips as well. But there we are. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, keep watching, keep subscribing. More videos coming on very soon.